Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we are doing a quadruple mail call unboxing. But before we get to that, I wanted to just show you guys a couple of the newer things that I picked up recently. I took another trip back to the garage sale warehouse just because, just with a different focus in mind. I was going in there just seeing if I could find anything good. But the only things I did end up finding were just a couple comic books. I got this bad boy, Green Lantern Emerald Dawn 2, number 6, The Trial of Sinestro, which I think I got a pretty good deal on because I think if I saw right, this thing's worth about $6 to $10. I got it for like $1 or two. And then this bad boy, another Green Lantern comic book. These are from the series I don't have a lot of. It's like Volume 3. I guess if you consider Volume 3, because some people consider the original Hal Jordan line to be Volume 1. But I consider the original like Golden Age Green Lantern to be Volume 1, and then the Hal Jordan Volume 2, and then the new Hal Jordan Volume 3, and then there's a new Hal Jordan, which is Volume 4. So these ones were part of basically Volume 3. But yeah, so this was with Kyle Rayner, and then of course this is with Hal Jordan. But moving on from that, oh yeah, I also wanted to show you guys I was talking about before with the Captain Phasmas, how they always put out these Captain Phasmas with like a stainless steel kind of look instead of a chrome look. But I wanted to show you what I've done to this Captain Phasma with a chroming uh, device. See here, so I don't know if this doesn't really do it a lot of justice, but essentially I gave it like a mirror sheen where this one still just looks like stainless steel. But yeah, there's a good reflection on this bad boy now after I painted it all up. Now maybe I could show you with this. I have also a 6-inch one that I was working on that hadn't quite finished yet, but so you can see up here by the cape. See up by the cape, I hadn't quite gotten to. See, I was just kind of working down here, and I didn't want to get the silver on the cape. But see, there's a definite line from the pewter kind of stainless steel look to the shiny mirror look. So the shiny mirror look is what I had added onto, and of course the other stuff is what it came with. But yeah, so I wish they would have actually made these figures with the chrome, because that would have been amazing, because that's what it was supposed to be. It was like, when they put out all those 3PO figures where it's not actually shiny, it's just kind of like a gold sheen. It's just like, that's not 3PO. We need 3PO with like a mirror-esque kind of metallic look. But yeah, so let's get on to the mail call. So this one I got from another Coffin Comic Books. I wasn't quite expecting this, but I guess I forgot that I ordered it with those other two that I showed you last time. But yeah, so this one came in. I wasn't expecting it, but I guess I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, just another Lady Death book. Let's see which one it is. Which one is it? Up there. Here. There's some paper taped to it. Oh, hey, okay, this one's kind of cool. This Lady Death. Which one is this? A Maleficent Decimation, Chapter 11, Part 1, Number 1. So Maleficent Decimation, Part 1. So yeah, Lady Death in all her glory. I just liked what the artist did here with her. I think I like a particular face. Like it has a particular face. That's what I look for when I'm buying the Lady Death books. I just like, I guess, a lot of detail to the face. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool one. That's why I ordered it. And I like how the sword blade is kind of different than you've seen before. It almost kind of looks like, I don't know, almost like a chain in a weird way. Kind of like an old school swinging chain thing. And then let's get on to this one. Oh yeah, this one I ordered. We'll wait for a while. This is a variation of the Spider-Gwen versus Carnage comic books series that's going out right now for the King in Black. And it was actually, Black Cat's not in the series, but for some reason they made a Black Cat variant for that series. So that's what this is. Let's dig into here. Don't cut too deeply. Just kind of ride the cardboard. Alright, so let's get to this. But yeah, it looked like a pretty cool issue, and I like how these comic book places have these new cool boxes that basically make it so your comic book is super safe in its shipping. It's like double layered cardboard, and it's sturdy cardboard, and yeah. Alright, so let's dig into the balls here. What do we got? Oh, there it is. Oh, looks like the bag it came in kind of got a little messed up, but at least it didn't mess up the comic book. And I ordered this from the 616 Comics Patreon. Now left 616 Comics. So that's from 616 Comics. Excuse me. And this is the one I got. Yes, so this was, I guess, the 1 in 25 variant. So every 25 issues, this one came in there. And this Black Cat, as you all know, I love the Black Cat, so I picked this one up. A pretty cool variant. Not sure why it would be in the Spider-Gwen, Gwenom versus Carnage series, but yeah, still, regardless. Awesome that they made that. Now let's get into the nuts of these bad boys here. Let's see, we got boxes to open. So box number one, I know what these are, and actually I talked about this, getting these actual figures a long time ago. I did a video covering Marvel and DC toys from BC, or Toy Biz. Yeah, Marvel and DC toys from Toy Biz. And I was going through my carded DC figures and just talking about stuff, kind of that I wish that I'd had and never got. And they're actually pretty cheap still, reasonably, but that might change because there's something big coming out for this character that it's just kind of oddly coincidental, too, that I'm just kind of starting to get back into comic books and kind of re-getting to my love of this particular line of comic books, because this is actually my favorite line of DC comic books. If you've been paying attention, you already know what that is, and you might already know what this guy is. But we'll get there. Let's get there. Come on. This guy really packed this well. Almost a little unnecessary for what this figure is, but I guess it, keeps the paint on it. This is a loose figure because I guess if you want to buy this in package, it goes anywhere from like $200 to $400. And I did not want to spend that currently to get this bad boy. But this is the original, very first ever action figure of this size of the Green Lantern. This is Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And this is from the Super Powers series. And there was 2 different sets to come out in the late 80s, early 90s. And the one was the Super Powers. And that's what this guy's from. It's the Super Powers Green Lantern. I forget. Let me see if I could see the year on this bad boy. Where's the year? Oh, it's there on the side. It was like, 1984. Yeah, so this is from 1984, Super Powers Green Lantern. So this even predated the Toy Biz Marvel line. This was actually put out around the time the Secret Wars figures were putting out for Marvel. So there's the Hal Jordan, and he actually came with his little lantern, which is pretty cool because a lot of these that I saw online, they didn't actually come with the lantern. It was just the, Green Lantern by himself, no lantern. And let's see if we can make this hold on to it. Yep. Blackest day and brightest night, let it shine, Green Lantern's light. But yeah, so that's pretty awesome. Never had this figure before, never actually seen this in person. I've only ever seen it online. And what was cool about these ones too is that they didn't have in the Secret Wars is that actually the knees bent, so you could actually bend the knees on these, whereas the Secret Wars figures were just stick figures. They only had the shoulders and the legs would move and maybe the head, but this guy, shoulders, knees, and head, and of course waist. So yeah, so that's Super Powers Green Lantern. Super excited to get that because my favorite DC character of all time is the Green Lantern. And, I guess further down the line, when I'll get into talking about those comic books, so I'll kind of go further into why he is my favorite. But essentially, they kind of, I think they didn't do it any justice when they had Ryan Reynolds play him in that movie some odd years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Because the Green Lantern, he is not a funny character by any means. He's like a super serious character. And I'll talk about that too, is like I showed you guys a comic book I bought, the Emerald Dawn 2 #1. Actually, the very beginning of that comic book, it's Hal Jordan basically going to a judge, and he had gotten arrested for getting a DUI. And basically, yeah, he was drinking and driving, so he gets sentenced to jail, and they basically take him away. And like as he's like riding into the paddy wagon to jail, like he hears on the radio there's some crazy like robbery taking place. So he essentially, and even in this comic book, they touch on powers that I didn't even know he had. But essentially, he creates a projection of himself to stay in the paddy wagon as he goes out and flies off and becomes the Green Lantern and goes and thwarts this robbery, and then basically goes back into the paddy wagon so he can carry out his sentence into jail, which is pretty funny. But they even touch on that in that comic book. There's like a certain point where like he's going to bust the guys that are robbing the bank, and he's like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to have some sort of funny line here, but I don't, because like I said, Green Lantern wasn't supposed to be funny. He's like a serious character. But yeah, so let's get on to what's in this package here. And this one I'm super excited for because like the other one, I've never seen this in person myself. And I only just recently saw this online as I was going to look for him. And this came out from the next series, and it's essentially kind of the brethren to that one, I guess, as far as those series go. And this one is the DC Superheroes Green Lantern. Oh, and it looks like the bubble fell off the card back. And I don't know if that was supposed to come like that. But yeah, this is the DC Comics Superheroes Green Lantern. And he came with basically the a little tube and a squeeze thing, so you kind of hook it up to the back of him, and he squirts water out of his ring. And I've never seen that in person before, so that's pretty cool. And he comes with the Green Lantern ring that you can wear. Plus, he comes with the lantern and his own ring, of course. But yeah, I was super excited to get that because, like I said, I've never seen it in person, never had one of these, and he is my favorite of all the DC characters, so it was kind of fitting that I needed to get him. So yeah, so there he is in all of his Green Lantern glory. And I might have to go back and read the description on this auction because, yeah, I wasn't aware that the bubble was separated from the card back like that. And I don't know if maybe that happened in transit or what, but that is no bueno. But either way, super stoked to have it. And it wasn't very expensive, so that's why I was just like, I just pulled the trigger just because, yeah, I made an offer, and it was only like 20 bucks, which is pretty good because this figure is actually from 1990. So I guess now, yeah, it's technically vintage. 31 years old, so I guess everything toy-wise over 30 is vintage. But yeah, there he is, Green Lantern. Super excited. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.